Welcome to Disney A, the Canadian-themed Disney travel podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Krysta.
We're back!
Yay! I missed you all. Okay.
That sounded sarcastic.
Oh, no,
Don't be mean.
I wasn't mean. I wasn't trying to be sarcastic. I was trying to be cute. So when I try and be cute, it comes across sarcastic?
A little bit.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, now I feel awkward. Yes, we were gone last week. Well, you were technically gone last week.
I was gone, yes.
And as much fun as talking to myself sounded.
I was a businessman doing business.
Doing business?
Yeah, at the business factory.
How was that?
It was good. Yeah, I was doing business. Lots of late night team building activities involving
beer.
Craft beer.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, I did get a text once and it was like, stayed up till 2 a.m. again. Oops. Well, that's good. I'm glad you had fun, but we are back and I'm glad we're back too. What are we talking about this week, Brandon?
Well, we're going to do a deepish dive on Moon Knight.
Yeah, deepish. We're not going to
I don't know. Yeah.
Spend hours analyzing or anything like that, but we're going to chat about it. And we gave you a couple weeks to get caught up now. The series has been done for a little bit.
Yeah, and you better be caught up because it's a content avalanche now.
Yep.
It's the start of content season.
Apparently. This is the last little break here, and now we're... And that was only like a 2-week break, so... Oh my, okay, well actually let's talk about that in the news, all the content coming our way. But so before we get to that, Brandon, what is your nerd thing this week?
Yeah,
or these last 2 weeks, I guess.
I'm going to go with, I was away on a leadership conference and I learned leadership things.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Leadership-y stuff.
Like mostly how to split a bill with several different kinds of shots on it.
And craft beers.
We did do more than just drink, but there was a lot of drinking.
Yeah. Well, you're an accountant, so did that often fall to you, the splitting of the bill stuff?
No, we were actually downtown Vancouver, and the waitresses there were used to splitting bills for corporate clients.
For businesses,
so
yes. That's like 90% of their clientele, I'm sure.
It was actually not a problem at all.
That sounds fun, though.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah?
Pretty fun.
Nice. My nerd thing, I'll go work-related as well. It's been about a week and a bit now, but we had grad. And that was... Well, we have 2 graduation-type things. They both get called grad, but we're trying to change the name of this one to prom. But it's when it gets all dressed up fancy, and they do the big dinner, and I had to give a speech. And I've done that before, but it was fine, and yes.
Hooray!
You don't like talking in front of, 300 people?
Well, I had to talk in front of, super high-powered executives.
That sounds worse to me.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I don't mind talking in front of a lot of people, but the big one is I'm always emotional at stuff like that, you see. So,
Well, early congrats to the class of 2022.
It was very cool because this is the first one we've had since before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first, normal school event like that. So that was pretty cool.
Things are starting to feel real normal.
You bet they are. Also, so I have another nerd thing. So you know how I'm not just going to talk about Animal Crossing and Loungefly and Wemos every time?
You say that, you keep saying that, but
As a
all evidence points to the contrary.
No, I just talked about grad. It was totally different.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't mention a very cool thing that I got in Disneyland. I got a Kermit Wemo that I really, really wanted. And he's been chilling, hanging out in my Loungefly bag with me, going back and forth to work lately. But
as one does.
As one does, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the one that, I thought they were really, really hard to get there for a while. So we walked into World of Disney on our first night in downtown Disney, and I saw him sitting there, and I yoinked him right away, and yeah.
Yeah, you grabbed him very quickly.
Very quickly. Wait, what was that? And so that was very cool. So he's been hanging out. Also, Brandon, what are you drinking?
Well, I've been drinking this quite a bit since I got home.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just some nice, delicious black coffee.
Is that because of the oops and the?
Yeah. I needed to catch up on my sleep, and in the meantime, need to supplement that with some delicious caffeine.
Wait a minute, those things seem counterintuitive. Yeah, so I also am drinking coffee. I did not sleep super well. We're dog sitting right now. So I have 3 dogs. Yes, one is who's helping us record right now. And I actually went to the airport to go get you late at night, and that airport was about 2 hours away. So, and then got up and went to work after a couple hours of sleep. So I'm still kind of catching up on that as well. And black coffee. Of course, I didn't have any oops. Oops, 2 a.m.
Oops.
Now, this is also when we talk about our newest Marvel episode, but our entire episode this week is talking about the latest Marvel thing. So instead, we are really close to Obi-Wan.
We are close to Obi-Wan, but the latest Marvel thing to come out actually is Doctor Strange.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, you probably want to see it, although if you haven't, you've probably been spoiled.
Sorry. Well, not us, but yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do it.
Nope.
But yeah, probably want to keep up to date on your Marvel stuff if you're worried about spoilers.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Okay, spoiler free. What did you think?
I liked it. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about it. Mm-hmm. It's a little subversive, which always has problems for people. I think it's the monkey's paw version of Spider-Man.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Nice literary reference as well.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that a lot. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That for those people who don't know, the monkey's paw thing is to be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just realized, like, right. I really liked it. Of course. Nope, that's all I can say, because without spoiling.
Yep.
Yeah, just we know Wanda's in it, and she is by far my favorite MCU thing ever. But I did really like it, and I really want to talk about it, but we're not going to do that right now because
we'll let it
spoilers.
breathe. We'll
Yeah.
let it breathe for a while. We're not going to do 2 Marvel episodes back to back.
No. I think maybe as we already did an episode that was looking at the first few Marvel elements into Phase 4. We have like you said, some content. Marvel content is coming our way, and then maybe we can do another next batch of Phase 4.
So much content.
Right? Well, you know what? Let's get talking about that in the news. Disney A News Update. All right, so let's jump right into all this content coming our way.
Why don't we talk about park news and then we can
park
do
news
content.
and then all that, because the content is we have. Hey, if you don't have summer plans, boy, do we have them for you. Okay, park news first of all. More, you were mentioning more stuff opening up, more stuff coming back, and that's basically our park news. Water is back in the submarine attraction finally. Ooh. It is really close to opening. All signs point to opening soon. It might have announced when by the time we're finished recording this, honestly, because every day it's like, oh, they started filling, and then they're filling more, and they're painting them.
Yeah, they did a whole bunch of painting. It looked quite vibrant before they put the water in, and that's good. It's not like the coolest thing in the world, but it's another ride to soak in some people. And...
Definitely, and although it is not the same as the classic one or anything like that, there is definitely vintage Disneyland going on with that. And I like it. I think, if you're going to reopen it, give it a fresh coat of paint and get her all up to snuff, and here we go. So that is going to be right away. Also, the red car trolley is returning to DCA this summer. I know this is a favorite of a lot of locals and diehard DCA people, and they had the trolley sitting out for pictures when they just did Buena Vista Street there.
Just for pictures, yeah.
And that's been it. So this is pretty cool. A lot of people didn't think it was going to open at all, with the opening of Avengers Campus and all.
Yeah, because where they park the trolley now is actually in Avengers Campus, so they're going to have to do some sneaky sneaks to get it out, because it doesn't really fit with that theme, but... that's good. It comes back to the whole kinetic energy thing, and that's something that DCA's always quite lacked.
Well, except
on the boardwalk.
On the pier, yeah. Agreed. Definitely agreed. And we've talked about that as being a serious problem in Tomorrowland as well. So that's
Which used to have the best kinetic energy, now has the worst.
Definitely. Good on that, and that's pretty exciting. We, of course, don't have a date. It just said this summer. Also, speaking of summer, we do have a date on Pirates reopening.
Arr.
Currently scheduled for July 1st. So, happy Canada Day. Go see some pirates.
Arr.
Hey, we just had a Pirates episode, our last episode.
We did, yes.
Yes, R.
Okay.
And speaking of, not as stuff opening, but also the parks, you know that lawsuit filed against the Magic Key program?
Yes.
And you know how they tried to get it thrown out and it didn't happen?
That's standard operating procedure for lawsuits.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Well, no, it is continuing to move forward and was in the news again just for continuing to move forward. So that is still developing. And we think almost 100% guaranteed related to that is how they're not renewing Believe in Dream keys and they're not selling new Dream and Believe keys. We just think they're just waiting to see what happens with this.
Yeah, they're gonna figure out their lives by the time that the bulk of them come up due, because they were sold in August.
Yep.
And the only reason that there's any that have been tried to renew is because they were like tacked on to like park hopper ticket, like multi-day tickets,
right.
And then they upgraded, and then your renewal date's actually like the first time you use the ticket. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so we are sure that, with everything else coming out this summer, that we will be seeing some understanding of what's going to be happening with that. And, speaking of summer, lots of stuff coming out. So it's actually our May long weekend here.
It is.
Yeah, and we had an episode our first year about what that means and everything. But this is kind of like the unofficial start of summer in Canada.
And it usually snows.
Which it did.
It did, yeah. Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some parts it only rains.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it definitely snowed.
Like, it didn't stick on the ground or anything, but there was definitely snow in the air, which is
par for the course,
super
actually.
fun.
Yeah. Happy summer. But it's like when everyone starts camping and it's our, long weekend. I know the unofficial start of summer in the States is usually next weekend. So, so happy Victoria Day, Canadians. Happy summer. Let's spend the summer watching stuff because content.
Yeah, and we weave some outside time in there too. But yeah, there's lots of content, so you're gonna have to plan
schedule.
Really well.
Yeah, definitely schedule. Okay, we have new trailers.
We do.
Ms. Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about this new trailer?
I think it's gonna be fun. It wasn't as cool and unique as the first trailer, obviously. Yeah. But we got to see a little bit more of her powers, and yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes. It's trending younger, similar to how Moon Knight trended adult.
True.
And a little deeper themes. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, this seems more teenage problems dealing with.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah,
they can have all sorts of different content.
Exactly,
right?
And I like that, reaching out to all the different audiences. Smart on them too. Also, this one, She-Hulk.
Okay, so this is our first solid look at it. We had little kind of teasers before.
Yeah.
This looks really good.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, oh, whatever. I mean, Bruce Banner might show up. That's kind of cool. And I whatever. I was very much a big whatever on this one. Kind of like I was on Hawkeye, and I enjoyed Hawkeye a fair bit, but it's not like WandaVision or anything, or Moon Knight for that matter.
Yeah.
To be talking about. But so I kind of thought this would be in the same vein. I am so looking forward to this now.
Yeah.
It's also trends more adult, not in the same way Moon Knight does.
This to me, just judging from the trailers and the little I've heard about it, is like Ally McBeal but green punchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green punchy Ally McBeal.
Yeah.
We did get a solid look at Hulk as well. Smart Hulk.
Yeah, he's smart. He's Smart Hulk, but his arm isn't all messed up.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Hopefully we get some answers there.
Well, it's also curious as to when in the timeline this is, too.
No idea.
We have hopes for another appearance of some really good lawyer.
Well, they talk about how it's superhero lawyers, so there's one superhero lawyer that I know of.
Well, now two, because She-Hulk.
Yes.
But she is awesome. She seems super snarky and just a whole lot of fun, and now I'm really looking forward to this. Before I was just like, oh, that'll be fun, whatever. But now I'm really, this is my next big excitement one coming out.
Okay, and then I'm going to throw you a curveball here.
Uh-oh.
And I read some news about another Marvel show that's coming.
What?
We didn't get any trailers or anything, but Secret Invasion, which we've heard about. Kevin Feige apparently confirmed that it's going to be set during the 5 years of the blip.
What?
Yeah, which is very interesting because it's supposed to star Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, who we know was
blip.
Right. So there's definitely some Skrull action going on
definitely.
there, probably. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
And that is cool because I think I would like to see that time period, which we've only seen glimpses on the beginning and end of it.
Yes. And I like when they do address, like, it's not just, I mean, yes, yay, people came back, but also, well, like the not that I always talk about WandaVision, but the WandaVision scene where all of a sudden it's just absolute chaos. People are literally running into each other because they're like,
yeah, that hospital scene is crazy, or like the Black Widow.
Yes, it was the Hawkeye scene.
It was in the Hawkeye, but
Yelena
coming, like, going and crazy.
She's like in the bathroom, comes out, and it's like a completely different house.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, so very, very cool, and I like addressing the realities of that. And
well, it's weird. And,
yeah, it's so weird.
Like, and Falcon the Winter Soldier, the whole plot was like how like half the world's population returning suddenly would cause just like massive problems.
Exactly. Like on a like wider scale, not just an individual chaotic scale. So seeing what's going on during that time is super interesting. I'm excited about this. Do we know when that's coming out?
No, they haven't announced, but it's supposed to be this year, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe that's a near the end of the year situation.
And I believe the Ahsoka series has started filming.
Yes, I did hear that. That's exciting. Oh, and I believe there's pre-production going on for Loki Season 2.
Right. Yes, that's coming as well.
And then the other trailer we got that isn't Marvel, but it is superhero related.
Well, technically Marvel, but not MCU Marvel.
Well, yes, that's true. Baymax. Yes, Baymax.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
Oh my god, I am so excited for it. It's adorable.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Baymax has like amazing comedic timing, and I'm hoping that this is like slightly longer episodes than Doug Days was, because it's giving me that same kind of vibe.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope it's like a full...
I did love Doug Days, though.
Yeah, Doug Days was, like, adorable. I just wanted more.
Yeah, give us more Doug Days. Give us, like, 8 seasons. If you're going to do that short, I just want lots of it.
Yeah, more episodes if it's going to be, like, short little snippets, which can work, too. But...
Yeah. No, so this looks awesome, and I'm hopeful that you're right. Longer. Yeah, so, man, lots of stuff coming.
And that's just the... the near future Disney Plus stuff. There's also movies and Netflix shows and Amazon Prime shows. It's all happening in the next couple months.
Man, you said The Boys is coming out soon? Very adult on that one. Don't be watching that.
Superheroes, yay, fun! And Stranger Things, season 4.
Oh yeah, I don't think we ever talked about the trailer for that one, but.
Looking good.
I'm
good.
Excited. I love Stranger Things. Me and everyone else.
They're doing an interesting thing with that one and splitting it into 2 parts. But apparently the second part's only 2 episodes. But they're supposed to be like mini
really
movies,
long.
basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this the last Stranger Things season?
No, they're doing one more after this.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's coming out right away. Oh man, we're gonna have to like take out a calendar and start filling in what we're watching which day.
Yep.
But the big one is, of course, Obi-Wan. We're days away.
Yeah, and we get 2 episodes the first day, so that's interesting.
And we might be staying up late to watch it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or waking up early to watch it. I was, like, all on board until you said there were 2 episodes, and I went, uh-oh. Okay, so anything else for news, or should we head on to Moon Knight?
Let's go.
Disney Plus and chill.
Moon Knight. First of all, let's just do, before we get into it here, Brandon, where was your, like, overall thoughts on Moon? Like, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Well, here's the thing about Moon Knight. I'm not, like, the super megaist comic book person in the world.
Yep.
But I had honestly never heard of him before the series had come out. I know he's been in stuff, and like some people were excited, but I'd never heard of the character of Moon Knight before.
Interesting. I think I remember you saying when we first heard about it, you're like, well, that's a deep cut or whatever.
Yeah, so I was going in with like 0 expectations, and I don't know, Oscar Isaac's cool, so is
he is.
And yeah, I honestly had no clue what to expect.
Well, yeah, and were you pleasantly surprised, or?
I was pleasantly surprised. Mm-hmm. I quite enjoyed this show. It is not connected to the MCU very much.
No. At least not right now. I mean, that's the thing with the MCU. They have so many threads just dangling all over the place, and it's like which one they'll pull on maybe 10 years from now.
But yeah, like I liked that this didn't rely on any cameos or build-ups or trying to reference Mephisto or anything like that. Like,
well, especially when at the same time we're getting Doctor Strange, which is just like layers of like, hope you watch this one episode of this thing, and yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, I think it works that way. And, big thumbs up on this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this one is my second favorite Marvel Disney Plus show.
Yeah, and I think I agree on that. Obviously, you're talking about WandaVision being your favorite.
Of course. Loki's, like, really close, and the only reason I think this one beats out is that last episode of Loki basically was just setting up season 2, and so I need to see more of what they do with that.
Yeah, that last episode of Loki was kind of weak. It was just purely exposition.
Yeah. So that's the only reason this one. I
would agree with you that it's the second best one, but I think it's the best standalone show.
Oh, I agree. I definitely agree.
By a lot.
It might be the only standalone show though as well.
Yeah, because like WandaVision doesn't work by itself.
No,
it doesn't work in a vacuum. Whereas Moon Knight, like you could have 0 other MCU content ever existing, and it would
just watch Moon Knight.
It would work.
Yeah, there's like maybe 2 little throwaway comments made that you wouldn't even catch up on.
Yeah,
like it doesn't even throw you off.
It doesn't even make any difference whatsoever.
So overall, Moon Knight had positive reviews, especially which I think we should talk about the darker tone. People love the darker tone.
It was definitely some spooky.
There were straight up horror moments in this one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the other thing that got really positive reviews, performances, especially Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac. They both were just like people generally, critically, popularly loved them.
Ethan Hawke plays a mighty fine villain in this, and just really cool. The whole cult leader thing is always fun. So you could tell he was having a good time.
Yeah.
And Oscar Isaac. So you've seen this by now because this is all spoilers. But the character of Moon Knight has dissociative identity disorder.
Yes.
And that's the main plot point of this whole thing, is that there's these 2 characters at the start don't know each other exists, or one knows the other exists.
Right.
But you're seeing all this stuff, and there's a whole case of unreliable narrator.
Which I love.
And Oscar Isaac is acting his ass off because he's got these 2 like distinct characters with distinct mannerisms.
And distinct like
accents and like they're completely different people, and he like makes it work.
Oh yeah. Sometimes they argue with each other, and it's amazing actually. Like he is even if you didn't like the rest of the show, his acting, like you got to give props to this guy's acting in this one. He just like went for it and is so good. So also favorable reviews for the representation of Egypt.
Yeah.
So this one was the director or the writer. Anyway, it has Egypt background.
I'm sure we will find out when we watch the assembled episode
yes.
on it.
Okay, well that's coming out on the 25th. Yes. Nice little segue into that. Segui. Good segui. So that's coming out this week. This is a bit of a gap between the end of the... Usually it's like a week or 2 weeks.
Usually they have like a week off and then it's the next.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. But yes, so anyway, and he famously criticized other representations of Egypt. I think there was one like a DC. We didn't watch it, so so he's like, I'm gonna do it right. Yeah, and he did it right.
Egypt's been stereotyped in pop culture for so long that it's become the thing, and now it's a more realistic look at.
Well, and it's pretty hard when you're doing a whole thing about Egypt mythology to not be a stereotype. Right. So it's really like awesome that he was able to pull that off. Also, generally favorable reviews for the representation of dissociated identity disorder. Obviously, they're doing it for, like, a plot point.
But it was realistically done, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist
Neither am I.
or anything.
And there were people who were like, okay, well, like, not quite. But as far as media representations for a superhero movie, they're like, actually, you, like, shed light on this, and that's cool. So, you know, that's...
and it's caused by trauma, and...
oh, was there trauma?
They explore that. So, what did you think about the source of trauma and how, like, they went for it?
That was... Okay. I'm going to try and word this. Oh, well, no, it's okay. We're not avoiding spoilers or anything like that. So let's just say the trauma was, as someone who works with children who have trauma a lot of the time, I've never taught anyone with dissociative identity disorder, but I've taught students with a lot of trauma. Like, I really appreciated it, actually. I like that they didn't shy away from it. It was tough. It was hard to watch, but they did this superbly well. And like, when it's straight up horror, we've got Khonshu creepily walking through the elevator scaring the bejeebers out of poor Steven there. Yeah, that was Steven. Mark wouldn't have been scared. This was as horrifying. Essentially what happens is we have Mark, his brother dies, and he is basically, his mother is abusive and has is it alcohol or...
Yeah, she's an alcoholic.
She's an alcoholic, or it was like either drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, so the Mark and his brother go off on an adventure in a cave somehow, and his brother drowns. Yeah. And his mother blames Mark for this accident.
Yeah, when they're children.
Yeah.
And then becomes, like, straight up abusive. And they don't shy away from that at all.
Yeah, I mean, they don't show it on screen, but, like... it's very, like, it's tough to watch, for sure.
It is really hard to watch.
Really well done.
Yeah. So what did you think about the level that they showed this
No, I think it's good. Like, that's another thing that led this to being, like, a little bit more adult and, like, mature themes.
It was heartbreaking watching that, but it was... So in that was episode 5, when they're kind of trying to come together, Mark and Steven, and so they're actually playing, like, as two different individuals. And what actually got me was Mark trying to protect Steven from seeing this. He said, like, he wanted Steven to have a mother who loves him and, you know, was kind and everything like that. And so when Steven sees this, like, glimpse into the past of when he showed up, quite frankly, as this, like, traumatic coping mechanism, it was like when Mark is trying to drag Steven away so he doesn't have to have that illusion broken. Oh man, my poor heart was just that was a lot.
Yeah. And it's interesting, this is another one where is very similar in structure to the second to last episode of WandaVision, where they kind of, like, go through history. Yeah,
let's go into this magical place where we then open up doors, literally, and look at your past.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
I think they do it really well. That was one of my favorite episodes of WandaVision, too. Don't rely on it as a crutch, but when it fits the story and, you know, you have 6 episodes to tell us this crazy thing about this character.
It's an efficient way to do exposition.
Yeah. So. You do it well.
Yeah.
Good job. So adult, but beautiful and heartbreaking and literally horrible, and just, man, I really appreciate this show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so that episode did receive generally positive reviews. Some people weren't so sure on, I'm going to say it wrong, Tauret?
Oh, yeah.
Who I loved.
The hippo god.
Yeah, who I loved.
Yeah, I think if you like it was jarring tonally, but, like, it was earned to be that way. Like, it just worked.
Yeah, it fit everything else. Yeah. I don't know. I liked it, and I adore her. And speaking of,
like, really good CGI.
Yes, like, and attention to detail. We were watching a YouTuber talking about, like, watch the way her ears move when she's talking. Yeah. Especially at the beginning of the next episode 6, because longer talking then, of course. But,
They don't attack unless their ears are wiggling.
That's what I heard. A skipper told me that once.
Mm-hmm.
And blowing bubbles.
Right.
Yeah. Also, we have the Scarlet Scarab shows up in this one.
Yeah,
Layla.
so a surprise introduction of another superhero.
Yeah, who apparently was a villain or something like that, or an anti-hero or something.
Something.
Yeah, but in here, she, first of all, is male in the comics and is now the female love interest or actual literal wife of Mark. And that's awesome. And she's so cool. And I kind of love her.
Yeah, she kicked butt, literally.
Seriously kicked a lot of butt.
Yeah, and really cool costume. I think she should be in more shows.
And I hope she is. So, speaking of, there was a lot of people going crazy because they changed the title from series finale to season finale.
This was a Twitter post, and I think people might be reading a little too much into it.
But because there is not a second season confirmed, like Loki, credits rolled, season 2 coming, right?
Yeah, in fact, quite the opposite, because in several interviews since then, the director and Oscar Isaac, who was a big producer on it as well, has said, well, no, there's no plans, and we'd need a good story.
Yeah.
But the post-credit scene...
Yes, that's what made people go crazy.
So this had like a very satisfying post-credit scene.
Yes, it did.
Where they revealed the third personality...
Who had been alluded to.
There was definitely hints along the way. And
as it went on.
And if you knew the character of Moon Knight, you knew that there was this third personality in the comics who makes Mark look like a Boy Scout. Yeah,
because the whole thing is Steven is like really quiet and he's a vegetarian and soft-spoken and then Mark is like...
secret agent man.
Yeah, and like really tough. But a few times... Steven would wake up and it was like absolute violence all around him and he was like, oh, that's like terrifying. But a couple times Mark would be like, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And Mark would wake up and there'd be violence around him and he's like, well, there's no way Steven did this, like what the heck. And then as we went on, especially when we were when they were communicating more, they realized there were lapses.
Right.
Where they thought the other person was responsible.
Was something going on.
And then we had the third sarcophagus wiggling around there in our lovely flashbacks.
Yeah, when they were in the underworld, yeah.
Mark finds Steven in one, and then there's another one wiggling around that he doesn't even open. So we knew this was coming.
Probably a good thing.
Probably. Yeah. We knew something was coming.
Yep.
All right? So talk about this post-credit scene.
Yeah, so we the post-credit scene has Ethan Hawke's character in a mental institution, which is a nice callback to the whole underworld, and there's a lot of unreliable narrator stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, and fun camera work with all that stuff, too, eh?
Yeah, so you don't really know what's going on, but he gets taken out and taken out.
Yeah, he does. So this is Jake. And Jake is kind of... Apparently in the comics, he's actually a boxer or something.
He's a boxer and like a New York cabbie.
Yeah. So another accent for Oscar Isaac to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like you said, he makes Mark look like a Boy Scout. Mm-hmm. He has... No, whereas Mark will pull his punches a little bit. And he's got like definitely a code of like... You know, he doesn't want to kill people. He doesn't want, like, hurt kids or anything like that.
Yeah,
Jake's like, yeah, well.
Steven's really soft. Mark is... hard, but like has a heart of gold and like doesn't like working with Khonshu, and doesn't want to be like his thing of vengeance.
His lackey.
Whereas Jake, like, even just in that little small scene, you can see that he enjoys dealing out some violence.
Yeah, and then we also got to meet businessman Khonshu in that.
Yes, so everyone was saying that he's got these new threads and he saw Steven's suit and got jealous.
Yeah, Mr. Knight was all.
Yeah, because it's a very similar suit to Mr. Knight. So
I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he almost gives like mob boss kind of creepy, I don't know, it was very cool. Anyway, Jake is basically has no problem just being like, yeah, sure, I'll kill whoever you want me to kill, and it's
with a smile on my face.
And I'll make a snarky comment while I'm doing it with a New York cabbie accent.
So yeah, we need to see more of this. We need to see them again and have the three of them work out their problems.
Yeah, I don't know.
Steven and Mark are on the same page now.
Yes, they are, and I like that they just like swap back and forth now interchangeably. That's like really cool. Jake seems a bit of a further stretch though. Like,
oh yeah, that's why it's gonna be cool. Like he could be
Yeah.
the villain of another season or something. Like,
well, they're like, but in the same. Oh, that's so cool. And also, we mentioned Khonshu. So, what did you think of Khonshu?
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, he's got morals. They're not the best morals.
No. Kind of questionable.
But it is interesting because the villain and Khonshu, they both want to punish bad people.
Yeah.
But they disagree on the how and the when
The
of
when.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mostly the when.
Mostly the when. Yeah. Yeah. And he's doesn't have a problem with like the way he punishes them. He wants them to die.
Oh yeah.
But like, it doesn't need to be any swift, merciless. He's rather merciless. But his animation was really cool, I thought. Like his design and everything. You said there was some conjecture about like most TV showish kind of in the fight scenes and things. Like it wasn't as quite high quality.
Right, so especially in the first, I think it was the first episode, there's the big chase scene in the mountains.
Yes.
And the special effects seem kind of almost in the Uncanny Valley area.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of like the Mandalorian style green screen work, I think, in here. But I think it works really well because it's supposed to be in Steven's head.
Right.
Like you have this character that doesn't really know what's real and what's fake, and having that surreal action actually really lends itself to
it's almost dreamlike.
I don't know if that was intentional, but I'd like to think it was, because it feels dreamlike, because like he's waking up from this stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, yeah, it felt like a dream.
Yeah, that's
to me.
And for a while he believes it is.
Yeah.
So what did you think about Khonshu's CGI?
I think it was really cool. Like you had a lot of detail there, and like his floating head with the like tendrils of hair dripping down and stuff. Yeah.
I really liked all of the. This made me want to know more about Egyptian mythology.
Yeah.
Like it was very cool, and also seeing two gods like kick each other's butt was pretty sweet.
Up against the Great Pyramid.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought this was really cool. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a season 2, but I almost feel like a season 2 would cheapen it or something.
Yeah, it depends on how it did, but
there is Werewolf by Night,
which is the Halloween special that they're going to be putting out.
So, and that one is where I keep hearing that's where we'll see Moon Knight again. That's where we'll see.
Well, yes, they're leaning into this supernatural area. Blade is coming,
right?
And we saw Blade's buddy in the Eternals,
right? Yep.
And so there's a whole supernatural superhero team called the Midnight Suns, which Moon Knight is often a part of, with maybe Blade and maybe this Black Knight dude and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. We can see him show up again. Yeah,
I hope so. And I want to see more of Scarlet Scarab as well. So even if you don't show up in a season 2, show up somewhere. Show up somewhere in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I really liked it. Like, I'd rewatch this series again.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I could say the same for, say, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier or Hawkeye, but I'd rewatch this again.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on? What was your favorite episode?
What was my... I think I actually... This show had my favorite final episode.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Of all the Disney Plus series that we've watched. Its big climactic battle was good and satisfying. Even WandaVision, I didn't really like the big climactic battle. It seemed a little over the top and weird. and
well, you did have two visions fighting while just like having a conversation.
Yeah. So I really liked the like multi-layered, having the giant like Power Ranger battle of the gods while the street level battle's going on.
Yeah.
It was fun, and so yeah, I think the episode 6.
Plus, you had that great after credit scene, our only after credit scene.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was earned throughout the show.
Yep.
So it built up perfectly. It didn't feel rushed like some of these shows have. So yeah.
Yeah. Mine was the episode 5. Hardest to watch. And I don't know if you could say that's your favorite, but it's the one I appreciate the most.
Yeah,
so
it was well done as well.
It was very well done. Plus, I love Toweret, so at least that gave me like a few minutes of happiness and amongst all the pain and horror and suffering, literally. But yeah, that one. I want to know something about you, Brandon.
Uh-oh.
I want to know which one of Moon Knight's identities you're most like. Uh-oh. Which describes you best? Serious, timid, observant, thorough, aggressive, or passionate?
Observant.
Which one of these ones? Quiet, tough, patient, resourceful, complex, or protective?
Quiet. I'm gonna be Steven, aren't I?
Respectable, classy, survivalist, devoted, simple, or adaptable?
I'll be adaptable.
In a fight, you're most likely to talk your way out of it, distract them, then run away instantly, go full offense, balance offense and defense, or bring backup for help.
Bring backup for help.
And which occupation would you choose from the following? Law enforcement officer, private investigator, librarian, military officer, cab driver, or bounty hunter?
Let's go with private investigator.
You are Mr. Knight.
Ah, very cool.
Still a vigilante under a mask, but operates more as a detective, working with the likes of the police and other law enforcement officials. You're extremely loyal and trusting towards someone until proven otherwise. I like that. I think that fits. You're Steven, but not really Steven.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Steven when he, isn't such a loser anymore.
I would just be Steven. I'd just be straight up Steven, wouldn't I? Run away instantly. That one.
Yeah.
Which one would I be? Librarian. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I think that suits. Yeah.
That suits it?
It's a suit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. All right. Anything else to add about Moon Knight?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay, well, we actually have some trivia to review from last time. I asked you...
Oh, man, I don't even remember. That was a long time ago.
Pirates.
Arr.
I asked you Jack Sparrow's last words in the Pirates of the Caribbean film. This is what you said.
Yo-ho. Technically correct?
Technically correct. Yep.
I didn't have the whole quote, but...
No, yeah.
You said last word.
You said yo-ho, which was the last. It said, drink up me hearties, yo-ho.
I could picture the scene.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, when you're talking about, you're like, he's on a boat, and he's, what is the legend of how Captain Jack first escaped from being marooned? And you said...
He fashions reins for some sea turtles. Sea turtles from the hair on his back.
Definitely correct, 100%. Sea turtles.
Yeah, that's probably the thing I quote from that movie the most.
Yeah, it's true. And the third question: The Curse of the Black Pearl was the first film to ever appear, have its big first grand event at blank. This is what you said.
They projected it on the fountains of World of Color. I don't think that's true, but
no, but that's good. The answer is actually Disneyland.
That's weird.
Yeah, so they did like the red carpet in front of the attraction and everything. So yeah, cool. I'll give you 2 for 3. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just before we say goodbye here, I had an awesome news item I kind of was meant to talk about in the news and forgot. We watched Chippendale. Rescue Rangers.
Did watch Chippendale.
So that's out now, so you should watch it. And it's totally very different than Moon Knight.
Yes, quite.
When you said, who is this movie made for? Us millennials.
Cynical millennials who grew up with Disney.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual sequel to Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
For millennials.
Yeah, exactly. So, I meant to talk about that in the news, just that came out, and it's now available on Disney Plus for free. And if you are a cynical millennial, you need to watch this.
And I'm pretty sure it actually just takes place in the Roger Rabbit universe.
I think it does.
It's
it's
the same.
Very similar to that. Yeah, for 2022 instead of So instead of 1985 or whatever it was, 80s.
late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that I just wanted to mention that that's out, and I really liked it. Did you really like it?
I quite liked it.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Like, I had heard they were making a Chip and Dale movie, and I was rolling my eyes, and then the trailer came out, and I was like, oh. And then we watched the movie, and I was laughing a lot.
Like, literally the whole time. Like, squealing, laughing, almost crying. I was, yeah. So, different tone from Moon Knight. But definitely recommend that as well. Okay. So, that is our show now for the week. Please contact us on social media or through our website. And we're talking about something cool next week, so you might want to chime in and give us your opinions on that as well. Thanks also to El Mule, who's responsible for the theme song you heard at the top of the show. You can find a link to his work at our website at disneya.wixsite.com/podcast. And you can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you've rated or reviewed our podcast, thank you. And if you haven't, you should, because you're not cool unless you do, so be cool. And we'll read our reviews on the podcast, too. Next week, like I said, we're talking about something cool. We are, Obi-Wan's coming out.
It is.
Yep. So we are going to come up with some pitches for Disney Plus about the other Star Wars characters we think deserve their own show. Now, Obi-Wan was number 1 on my list for, like, I want to see a show about him. So this is kind of cool. I'm excited to see who else I think of, who else you think of. So if you have suggestions, you should probably message us. Either Facebook, email, or Instagram are probably the easiest ways to do that.
I'm going to give you a warning. I'm going to go pretty wacky.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm probably going to be less wacky than you.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I'm trying to think of what wacky things you'd say now. Okay, well, anyway, I'm Krysta.
And I'm Brandon.
Until the next adventure, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Thanks for listening to Disney, eh? Well, now I feel awkward.